안녕하세요. 반갑습니다, 여러분. 이번 시간에는 12장 호흡계통에 대해서 학습하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 그럼 시작합니다.
외호흡,
External respiration, external respiration, external respiration.
내호흡,
Internal respiration, internal respiration, internal respiration.
세포호흡,
Cellular respiration, cellular respiration, cellular respiration.
코,
Nose, nose, nose.
콧구멍,
Nares, nares, nares.
코안 비강,
Nasal cavity, nasal cavity, nasal cavity.
선모,
Cilia, cilia, cilia.
부비동 코격골,
Paranasal sinus, paranasal sinus, paranasal sinus.
인두,
Pharynx, pharynx, pharynx.
코인두 비인두,
Nasopharynx, nasopharynx, nasopharynx.
인두편도,
Pharyngeal tonsil, pharyngeal tonsil, pharyngeal tonsil.
아데노이드,
Adenoid, adenoid, adenoid.
이빈두,
Oropharynx, oropharynx, oropharynx.
목구멍편도,
Palatine tonsil, palatine tonsil, palatine tonsil.
후두인두,
Laryngopharynx, laryngopharynx, laryngopharynx.
후두,
Larynx, larynx, larynx.
식도,
Esophagus, esophagus, esophagus.
후두개,
Epiglottis, epiglottis, epiglottis.
기관,
Trachea, trachea, trachea.
세록한 종격,
Mediastinum, mediastinum, mediastinum.
기관지,
Bronchi, bronchi, bronchi.
기관지,
Bronchus, bronchus, bronchus.
폐허파,
Lung, lung, lung.
세기관지,
Bronchiole, bronchiole, bronchiole.
종말세기관지,
Terminal bronchiole, terminal bronchiole, terminal bronchiole.
폐포 허파가리,
Alveoli, alveoli, alveoli.
모세혈관,
Capillary, capillary, capillary.
적혈구,
Erythrocyte, erythrocyte, erythrocyte.
가슴막 흉막,
Pleura, pleura, pleura.
벽가슴막,
Parietal pleura, parietal pleura, parietal pleura.
내장 가슴막,
Visceral pleura, visceral pleura, visceral pleura.
가슴막안 흉막강,
Pleural cavity, pleural cavity, pleural cavity.
가로막 횡격막,
Diaphragm, diaphragm, diaphragm.
여,
Lobe, lobe, lobe.
폐꼭대기,
Apex of the lung, apex of the lung, apex of the lung.
폐바다,
Base of the lung, base of the lung, base of the lung.
폐문,
Hilum, hilum, hilum.
흡입,
Inhalation, inhalation, inhalation.
들숨,
Inspiration, inspiration, inspiration.
날숨,
Expiration, expiration, expiration.
산소,
Oxygen, oxygen, oxygen.
이산화탄소,
Carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide.
상기도,
Upper respiratory tract, upper respiratory tract, upper respiratory tract.
하기도,
Lower respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract, lower respiratory tract.
아데노이드 절제,
Adenoidectomy, adenoidectomy, adenoidectomy.
아데노이드 비대증,
Adenoid hypertrophy, adenoid hypertrophy, adenoid hypertrophy.
기관지 연추,
Bronchospasm, bronchospasm, bronchospasm.
기관지 확장증,
Bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis.
기관지 확장제,
Bronchodilator, bronchodilator, bronchodilator.
기관지 가슴막 새길,
Bronchopleural fistula, bronchopleural fistula, bronchopleural fistula.
세기관지염,
Bronchiolitis, bronchiolitis, bronchiolitis.
고이산화탄소혈증,
Hypercapnia, hypercapnia, hypercapnia.
진폐증,
Pneumoconiosis, pneumoconiosis, pneumoconiosis.
청색증,
Cyanosis, cyanosis, cyanosis.
후두개염,
Epiglottitis, epiglottitis, epiglottitis.
성문 연추,
Laryngospasm, laryngospasm, laryngospasm.
후두염,
laryngitis, laryngitis, laryngitis.
엽절제,
Lobectomy, lobectomy, lobectomy.
쐐기절제,
Wedge resection, wedge resection, wedge resection.
구역절제,
Segmental resection, segmental resection, segmental resection.
폐절제,
Pneumonectomy, pneumonectomy, pneumonectomy.
세로칸 내시경술, 종경 내시경술,
Mediastinoscopy, mediastinoscopy, mediastinoscopy.
부비동 코격골,
Paranasal sinus, paranasal sinus, paranasal sinus.
코이삽관,
Nasogastric intubation, nasogastric intubation, nasogastric intubation.
앉아 숨쉬기 자유호흡,
Orthopnea, orthopnea, orthopnea.
저산소증,
Hypoxia, hypoxia, hypoxia.
가래 배출,
Expectoration, expectoration, expectoration.
발성장애,
Dysphonia, dysphonia, dysphonia.
가로막신경, 횡격막신경,
Phrenic nerve, phrenic nerve, phrenic nerve.
가슴막 통증,
Pleurodynia, pleurodynia, pleurodynia.
가슴막 삼출액,
Pleural effusion, pleural effusion, pleural effusion.
기흉 공기 가슴증,
Pneumothorax, pneumothorax, pneumothorax.
코성형,
Rhinoplasty, rhinoplasty, rhinoplasty.
콧물 비루,
Rhinorrhea, rhinorrhea, rhinorrhea.
부비동염,
Sinusitis, sinusitis, sinusitis.
폐활량계,
Spirometer, spirometer, spirometer.
체인 마이너스 스토크스 호흡,
Cheyne-Stokes respiration, Cheyne-Stokes respiration, Cheyne-Stokes respiration.
무기폐,
Atelectasis, atelectasis, atelectasis.
가슴절개 개흉,
Thoracotomy, thoracotomy, thoracotomy.
편도절제,
Tonsillectomy, tonsillectomy, tonsillectomy.
기관절개,
Tracheotomy, tracheotomy, tracheotomy.
기관지협착증,
Tracheal stenosis, tracheal stenosis, tracheal stenosis.
농흉 가슴고름집,
Empyema, empyema, empyema.
후각상실증,
Anosmia, anosmia, anosmia.
무호흡,
Apnea, apnea, apnea.
수면 무호흡,
Sleep apnea, sleep apnea, sleep apnea.
폐쇄 수면 무호흡,
Obstructive sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea.
지속기도양압,
Continuous positive airway pressure, continuous positive airway pressure, continuous positive airway pressure.
호흡곤란,
Dyspnea, dyspnea, dyspnea.
발작야 간호흡곤란,
Paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea.
과다호흡 호흡항진,
Hyperpnea, hyperpnea, hyperpnea.
빠른 호흡 빈호흡,
Tachypnea, tachypnea, tachypnea.
객혈,
Hemoptysis, hemoptysis, hemoptysis.
질식,
Asphyxia, asphyxia, asphyxia.
혈액가슴 혈흉,
Hemothorax, hemothorax, hemothorax.
농흉 가슴고름집,
Pyothorax, pyothorax, pyothorax.
청진,
Auscultation, auscultation, auscultation.
타진,
Percussion, percussion, percussion.
시진,
Inspection, inspection, inspection.
촉진,
Palpation, palpation, palpation.
문진,
History taking, history taking, history taking.
가슴막 마찰음,
Pleural rub, pleural rub, pleural rub.
거품소리 수포음,
Rail, rail, rail.
건성 수포음,
Raunchy, raunchy, raunchy.
가래,
Sputum, sputum, sputum.
고름가래,
Purulent sputum, purulent sputum, purulent sputum.
가래 배양 객단 배양,
Sputum culture, sputum culture, sputum culture.
배양과 감수성,
Culture and sensitivity, culture and sensitivity, culture and sensitivity.
협착음,
Stridor, stridor, stridor.
쌕쌕거림,
Wheezes, wheezes, wheezes.
크루프 상기도 막힘,
Croup, croup, croup.
호흡기 세포 융합 바이러스,
respiratory syncytial virus, respiratory syncytial virus, respiratory syncytial virus.
디프테리아,
Diphtheria, diphtheria, diphtheria.
디프테리아 100일의 파상풍,
Diphtheria pertussis tetanus, diphtheria pertussis tetanus, diphtheria pertussis tetanus.
코피,
Epistaxis, epistaxis, epistaxis.
100일의
Pertussis, pertussis, pertussis.
천식,
Asthma, asthma, asthma.
기관지 확장증,
Bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis.
만성기관지염,
Chronic bronchitis, chronic bronchitis, chronic bronchitis.
만성폐 세성폐 질환,
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
낭성섬유증,
Cystic fibrosis, cystic fibrosis, cystic fibrosis.
무기폐,
Atelectasis, atelectasis, atelectasis.
공기증 기종,
Emphysema, emphysema, emphysema.
허파심장증,
Cor pulmonale, cor pulmonale, cor pulmonale.
폐암,
Lung cancer, lung cancer, lung cancer.
비소세포폐암,
Non-small cell lung cancer, non-small cell lung cancer, non-small cell lung cancer.
소세포폐암,
Small cell lung cancer, small cell lung cancer, small cell lung cancer.
표피성장인자 수용체,
Epidermal growth factor receptor, epidermal growth factor receptor, epidermal growth factor receptor.
진폐증,
Pneumoconiosis, pneumoconiosis, pneumoconiosis.
석탄가루증,
Anthracosis, anthracosis, anthracosis.
성면증,
Asbestosis, asbestosis, asbestosis.
규폐증,
Silicosis, silicosis, silicosis.
폐렴,
Pneumonia, pneumonia, pneumonia.
옆폐렴,
Lobar pneumonia, lobar pneumonia, lobar pneumonia.
기관지폐렴,
Bronchopneumonia, bronchopneumonia, bronchopneumonia.
원외폐렴 지역사회획득폐렴,
Community acquired pneumonia, community acquired pneumonia, community acquired pneumonia.
병원 내폐렴,
Hospital acquired pneumonia, hospital acquired pneumonia, hospital acquired pneumonia.
흡인폐렴,
Aspiration pneumonia, aspiration pneumonia, aspiration pneumonia.
폐농양,
Pulmonary abscess, pulmonary abscess, pulmonary abscess.
폐부종,
Pulmonary edema, pulmonary edema, pulmonary edema.
폐색전증,
Pulmonary embolism, pulmonary embolism, pulmonary embolism.
폐경색증,
Pulmonary infarction, pulmonary infarction, pulmonary infarction.
폐섬유증,
Pulmonary fibrosis, pulmonary fibrosis, pulmonary fibrosis.
유육종증,
Sarcoidosis, sarcoidosis, sarcoidosis.
결핵,
Tuberculosis, tuberculosis, tuberculosis.
막대균,
Bacilli, bacilli, bacilli.
중피종,
Mesothelioma, mesothelioma, mesothelioma.
가슴막삼출 가슴막삼출액,
Pleural effusion, pleural effusion, pleural effusion.
가슴막염 흉막염,
Pleurisy, pleurisy, pleurisy.
기흉 공기가슴증,
Pneumothorax, pneumothorax, pneumothorax.
가슴막 유착,
Pleurodesis, pleurodesis, pleurodesis.
단순흉 부촬영,
Chest X-ray, chest X-ray, chest X-ray.
디압,
Posteroanterior, posteroanterior, posteroanterior.
앞뒤,
Anteroposterior, anteroposterior, anteroposterior.
컴퓨터 단층찰 영술,
Computed tomography, computed tomography, computed tomography.
CT 호흡기 혈관조 영술,
CT pulmonary angiography, CT pulmonary angiography, CT pulmonary angiography.
자기 공명 영상,
Magnetic resonance imaging, magnetic resonance imaging, magnetic resonance imaging.
양전자 방출 단층찰 영술,
Positron emission tomography, positron emission tomography, positron emission tomography.
환기 마이너스 관료 스캔,
Ventilation perfusion scan, ventilation perfusion scan, ventilation perfusion scan.
기관지 경술,
Bronchoscopy, bronchoscopy, bronchoscopy.
기관지 폐포 세척,
Bronchoalveolar lavage, bronchoalveolar lavage, bronchoalveolar lavage.
기관지 초음파 내시경,
Endobronchial ultrasound, endobronchial ultrasound, endobronchial ultrasound.
기관 내 삽관,
Endotracheal intubation, endotracheal intubation, endotracheal intubation.
후두 내시경술,
Laryngoscopy, laryngoscopy, laryngoscopy.
폐생검,
Lung biopsy, lung biopsy, lung biopsy.
비디오 보조 흉강경 수술,
Video-assisted thoracoscopic surgery, video-assisted thoracoscopic surgery, video-assisted thoracoscopic surgery.
세로칸 내시경술, 종경 내시경술,
Mediastinoscopy, mediastinoscopy, mediastinoscopy.
폐기능 검사,
Pulmonary function tests, pulmonary function tests, pulmonary function tests.
폐쇄성폐 질환,
Obstructive lung disease, obstructive lung disease, obstructive lung disease.
제한폐 질환,
Restrictive lung disease, restrictive lung disease, restrictive lung disease.
총폐 용량,
Total lung capacity, total lung capacity, total lung capacity.
가슴천자,
Thoracentesis, thoracentesis, thoracentesis.
흉강경술,
Thoracoscopy, thoracoscopy, thoracoscopy.
기관절개,
Tracheostomy, tracheostomy, tracheostomy.
투베르쿨린 검사,
Tuberculin test, tuberculin test, tuberculin test.
관가슴절개,
Tube thoracostomy, tube thoracostomy, tube thoracostomy.
동맥혈가스,
Arterial blood gases, arterial blood gases, arterial blood gases.
항산막대균,
Acid fast bacillus, acid fast bacillus, acid fast bacillus.
성인호흡 곤란 증후군,
Adult respiratory distress syndrome, adult respiratory distress syndrome, adult respiratory distress syndrome.
심폐소생술,
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
운동호흡 곤란,
Dyspnea on exertion, dyspnea on exertion, dyspnea on exertion.
1초간 강제 날숨량,
Forced expiratory volume in 1 second, forced expiratory volume in 1 second, forced expiratory volume in 1 second.
강제 폐활량,
Forced vital capacity, forced vital capacity, forced vital capacity.
중환자실,
Intensive care unit, intensive care unit, intensive care unit.
폐의 외나래엽 자하여,
Left lower lobe, left lower lobe, left lower lobe.
폐의 외니엽 자상여,
Left upper lobe, left upper lobe, left upper lobe.
정제단백질,
Purified protein derivative, purified protein derivative, purified protein derivative.
호흡 곤란 증후군,
Respiratory distress syndrome, respiratory distress syndrome, respiratory distress syndrome.
폐의 오른 아래옆 우하여,
Right lower lobe, right lower lobe, right lower lobe.
폐의 오른 이옆 우상여,
Right upper lobe, right upper lobe, right upper lobe.
폐의 오른 중간옆 우중여,
Right middle lobe, right middle lobe, right middle lobe.
잔기량 남은 공기량,
Residual volume, residual volume, residual volume.
호흡 곤란,
Shortness of breath, shortness of breath, shortness of breath.
총폐 용량,
Total lung capacity, total lung capacity, total lung capacity.
상기도 감염,
Upper respiratory infection, upper respiratory infection, upper respiratory infection.